Testing. 1, 2. Good day and welcome to Living Well with Adena. We're thrilled that you've joined us today, and today we'll be talking about physical activity and overall health. And I have some fantastic guests that are joining us today. First with us is Dr. Regina Yandila. She is an internal medicine expert with Adena Health System. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we're even more pleased to join with us Miranda Vance, and she's a fitness instructor at the YMCA of Ross County. And she's also the outdoor educator of the Ross County Park District. Welcome, Miranda.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that we can help the viewers to better understand who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself, Dr. Yandila.
I'm Dr. Regina Yandila, internal medicine provider. I'm originally from South Carolina, Marion, South Carolina. It's about 45 minutes away from Myrtle Beach. Came up here to Ohio in 1997. I take care of internal medicine patients. So about age 16 and up, I take care of just about anything in terms of diabetes, congestive heart failure, COPD, hypertension, just anything you can think of.
We look forward to talking with you and getting your expertise, particularly around healthiness that we have, that we need to have. So Miranda, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at the Y and with the Parks Department.
Well, I have had a lifetime passion for fitness, and about 5 years ago I was fortunate to join the team at the Ross County YMCA as a fitness instructor. I teach whatever classes we can come up with, cardio and strength classes. I've done some silver sneakers for some of our older members, and at the Ross County Park District, we have 4 parks in Ross County and also 22 miles of the Paint Creek Recreational Bike Trail. So outdoor fitness is a big fan.
Awesome. And do with the Parks Department, are those all open to the general public?
Oh, absolutely. And they've remained open during the COVID crisis with certain strictures, of course. You know, we try to maintain the social distancing and ask people not to congregate in areas where they normally congregate, but we've seen a humongous rise in park visitation since there aren't, everyone feels safer outside and so many things are closed that we've had just a huge rush to visit the parks by people, some who've never been before.
Now you've been with the YMCA now for how many years again, did you say?
About 5 years.
Now did you always have an interest in fitness? Or if not, how did you get started?
Oh yeah, like I was 10 years old when my granny bought me the Suzanne Summers record, with the workout on it, and it come with the little album where you open it up and it shows pictures of how to do each of the exercises, and I got my little leg warmers and my headband, and I've been game on since then, so.
Awesome. That's a really good visual. I love that. So Dr. Andila, not everyone necessarily has the passion that Miranda did from an early age. So one of the things as physicians, we encourage folks to come in for a wellness visit. Can you just tell our viewers a little bit about what does that mean? What does a wellness visit mean, and what happens during one of those?
Well, during the wellness is we get to know you. We learn about just things as far as like what activity that you're doing now. We learn about what you're eating. Also, we learn about the things that we're finding with COVID is like with anxiety and depression. So we go through that screening, so we find out those things as well. So it gives us a baseline to what to start with and what we need to do to work with as far as deciding what's the best things to eat, what type of activity to do based on your health or so forth.
So is it really a partnership when you're with the patient? I mean, how do you engage then with the patient to help them to understand what they could do next?
So as a partnership with your patient, what I try to do is just make sure that they are learning about what they like to do as far as activity exercise. So I'll tell them, like, there's 7 days in a week. Try to pick, 5 or 6 different exercises and do a different exercise each day, and then try to find something that works for you. I try to tell them about boxing because I love boxing, and some I get to go with that will come with me, and then some they'll do their own thing, like as far as like walking, running, riding a bike. I'm not a bike person, but for those who love bikes, that's fun to do as well. And then also when the Y was open before COVID or so forth, or Planet Fitness or Body Zone or the Racquetball Club. They could do classes, at these different facilities, just to try something different, to do. And then whatever you like, just stick with it. And if it's like multiple things, stick to multiple things. And as far as like with diet, or what you're eating, if they need a lot of help with it, we refer them to. We have nutritionists at the hospital that we can refer them to. It's usually finding something that you like. And I tell them that try to make your food look pretty for you, because first you eat with your eyes. So just adding color into it. So if you add like peppers, the red peppers, orange peppers, when you're cooking something nicely, with your vegetables, because a lot of, with like kids or so forth, or even adults, just trying to eat something, vegetables, it's like, how can you make them taste good? So I bake them. I bake a lot of my vegetables. Like I do with broccoli, edamame, sweet peas, and use with olive oil and garlic, salt, and pepper that I use for, and you just bake it in the oven. If you need a little bit of sweetness to it, add craze into it. So just make it variety, make it just beautiful for you, and so that you'll be, interested in doing something like that. And do a variety of things. And they have different classes, especially like for my diabetics, they have these cooking classes that they're free to go to so they can learn how to cook for themselves. And I've actually attended myself, and I tried it, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. They only gave you one serving though, so but it was like, but it's okay.
So eating with your eyes first.
Yes,
I really like that description. So I'm going to ask you a tough question, which I'm sure that the viewers out there are going to ask all the time, right? And that is, what is the best diet? Particularly for those folks who are wanting to lose weight, right? That's the common question. What's the best diet?
The best
so what would you
diet
answer?
Is the diet that you can stick with for life. That's the best diet. There's a lot of different diets, where there's keto, whether it's Weight Watchers, or there's a lot of my patients are doing whether it's fasting diet for several hours or so forth. If you feel that you can stick with this diet, then that's as long as it's healthy, that's the best diet for you. And then some people need a kickstart, with the keto diet for them to lose that first 5-10 pounds. You can't imagine how it feels when you say, oh gosh, I've lost 10 pounds, and it gives you motivation to keep going. But the best diet I feel for you is that if you can find something that you'll stick with that follows low carbs, low fat, low cholesterol, so forth diet, those are the best ones for you. And for my patients, I tell them, I said, if you got caught into eating chocolate, which I unfortunately during this COVID thing became thick as thieves with chocolate. Just try to limit, say, okay, this is all I'm going to have for today if I do have chocolate, because I found out, I became frenemies with my scale. And I say frenemies because I would go every morning to my scale and, step on it and say, tell me something good. I step on it and I said, that can't be right. So you learn that, okay, so what I'm doing is not good for me. And so it's just trying to put in good stuff and then burning out the bad. And that's where the activity comes from, burning out the bad or so forth.
So I think what I heard you say was moderation.
Yes.
Is that right?
It is.
From a fitness expert perspective, any thoughts that you would want to share with our viewers regarding diet that you've found successful, either with your classes that you've seen or your own personal experience?
Sure. Well, I think what Dr. Andila said is right. It's something that you can stick with, because if you're forcing yourself to eat something that you don't like, you're not going to do that every day. I try to do just clean foods. If I do buy like processed foods from the store, I try to find things that have fewer preservatives, no artificial sweeteners, as many from the ground ingredients, you know, things that you can recognize, that you know what you're eating, natural foods and things like that. Of course, that's out of the economic range of some people, because those things are very expensive, you know, but you can make a shift. And I've told people before, I said, you know, you just bought a case of Pepsi and cookies and chips, and if you had taken that $12 and, you know, bought vegetables instead, even expensive organic vegetables, you know, that would have been a good trade-off. But like you with your chocolate, we all need a little indulgence, because if it's just, you know, the grind every day, it's not gonna, because your mental part of it is so important, you know, and that motivation, like you said, from losing weight and being involved in something, you have to enjoy it. And the more you do it, when you start seeing results, then you start getting more interested in it, and it starts tasting better and being more fun. So
I think that we could probably do a whole segment on chocolate and indulgences there. I would tend to agree with you. So let's shift the topic a little bit from diet to exercise, right? That's a very popular topic, and I know that the viewers out there, a lot of folks have some really good intentions starting off first, but it does seem daunting at first, right? A lot of time consuming. So what would be some tricks about approaching getting time for that? So let's start with first you.
Okay. So you have to have a lot of tools in your bag. What I found, you know, we all go to meetings. You block out, even like here, I have on my schedule, I had to come to a meeting. You know, schedule time with yourself. You're just as important as these meetings that we go to. So put on your schedule your time that you're going to exercise.
So actually write it down. Actually schedule time
put it on
out
your
for
phone.
you. On
yes.
your phone. Okay.
So it's on your calendar. You see, I'm supposed to exercise or do whatever's supposed to at the time. And then the other thing I find that, you know, find your music, you know, that you love, because music will help you through most pain of exercise, you know, the soreness of exercise. And that's one of the things, like where I go for like boxing, when you walk in, you hear the music, you know, when you're exercising. Now, at some point, you will start to feel the pain, but that music helps, you know, get through it. So I say, so schedule, you know, time with yourself, music, and then, as I said before, try to find something that you'll stick to, something that you like to do. So try a variety of different things. If you don't know one particular thing that you want to do, try a variety of things to do as well. And then try to start slow. You know, I have patients that, okay, I'm going to do an hour. I say, don't do that. You know, just start slow. Even if you just do, say, like 5 minutes, you know, a day. And I know a lot of people say, oh, 5 minutes. But I have patients who start with just like 5 minutes a day. And then they just keep adding 5 minutes each week as tolerated. And then until you can get up to a goal of like, I prefer to, I tell my patients, if you can do 45 minutes to an hour, which I know someone like, oh, Dr. Yandila, but it's like, but I say, okay, if you want to do short, if you want to do 30 minutes, that means your intensity has to be higher. And I'd rather for you to do over a longer period of time than, you know, a shorter period of time or so forth. And so I think that just start slow. Don't start off trying to, you know, do too much all at one time. Because when you start off, as you know, with exercise, that soreness, oh my gosh, it kicks in. I know with boxing, when I first started that first week, like that, I was sore for like a whole week. And then when COVID came, I said, okay, I got to keep myself in some type of shape, because, you know, eventually we'll get to go back to boxing. So I would do like, I had my cubby buddies, and thank goodness for them. They would do like challenges with me. So we do wall sits. So you sit on the wall and you had to hold it. And so I'm like very competitive. So I was trying to hold mine longer than the rest of them were. And then we did sit-ups, push-ups, and squats. And then one of my cubby buddies, like, he was showing off, because like the planks, like he did the plank and he was on there. I looked up at a minute and a half, and he was just like as if he was laying on the floor on his belly. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I just lost my nerve, and I was like, I can't make it. I can't. I'm just have to drop and go down. But those things, they help out. But anyway, when I went back to boxing, that second day of exercise, of that pain, that soreness comes through, I was like, oh my gosh, this hurts. I had to go down just like 2 flights of steps going home, just 2, not 14, but 2. And I was walking down, I was like, oh my gosh, my legs are going to fall off. So I looked at that, the rail beside me, and I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to ride that rail all the way down to the bottom. But then the sense came through and was like, you know what, maybe that's not a good idea.
Your enthusiasm for this is very contagious. It's very
but
obvious.
That's the thing too, because if you're around people who love it, so try to center yourself around people who are interested in eating healthy and exercising as well too. Because we have a student, her name is Masha, that works with Bev and also Jamie. Actually, we kind of took her. She's supposed to be working with Jamie, and she talks about eating healthy. She shows me like her salad and everything, and she says she loves eat different type of healthy food, and it makes you want to say, okay, I'm going to try this and so forth. And it's just being around you, I just feel your energy, with the exercise.
Yeah.
It just makes you feel good.
Well, don't go anywhere, because in a few minutes you're going to see these two demonstrate some exercises that you can actually do at home or in the comfort of your own privacy, right? But we want to also remind you that if you have questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the space in the Facebook below. And we have staff that's ready on standby to deliver those questions to us. We'll be happy to address those for you. So if you have questions about diet or exercise or any other related topic, be sure to do those. So we heard Dr. Yandila talk about exercise. What would you tell somebody in your class who said, 5 minutes, that really isn't going to make a difference? What would you say to them?
That any activity is better than no activity. And we were discussing before the program started about just parking your car at the far end of a parking lot at the grocery store, or taking the stairs at work as opposed to taking the elevator, or taking the long way around your block when you walk your dog. Just incorporating. And sometimes, and I even do it at work. Well, I try not too much because they laugh at me. But if I'm waiting for my coffee to warm up in the microwave, I'll see if I can kick out 15 squats, or just incorporating all the small things. And then when you get used to doing it, then you catch yourself sitting in a chair at a meeting and you're doing knee raises and seeing how tight you can keep your core while you're sitting here and hoping nobody, or standing in line at Walmart doing calf presses, that kind of thing. And just 5 minutes isn't much if it's just 5 minutes, but if you have 5 minutes 10 times a day, and you don't have to block out, which I am a fan of blocking out, scheduling. That's why a gym membership is good for me, because I have a set time and I have to be there. But if you can't do that, if you're if you have young children, or if you're a full-time job kind of thing, then you cut those little extra things in so that you don't, you do what you can do, but you need to do something.
Love it. You can do what you can do. And even 5 minutes makes a difference.
Sure.
Fantastic. So we know there's some really good physical benefits of activity, but I believe it's tied to mental health as well, right, and emotional well-being. So Dr. Yandila, can you talk a little bit about what are the mental effects or emotional benefits of exercise?
Because when you exercise, it releases these endorphins. And a lot of times when you go for some people, when they go for exercise, you're like, oh gosh, this is going to be rough today. But when you finish, that rush that you feel, you just feel so good. You're like, okay, you feel like you're on top of the world, just accomplished something. But it makes you feel good. Because I know with my patient, and again with COVID, when we talk to them, whether it be in person or on, with the telehealth, see them on our iPad or so forth, I feel their pain. You can see like they're anxious, that they're depressed or so forth, and it makes you, it pulls at your heartstrings, because you just want to reach out and give them a hug or so forth, but we can't because of now or so forth. But I tell them, I said, just go for a walk. If life becomes stressful, so just go outside and just walk. And then you take your children with you, just go for a walk. Even if it's like 30 minutes, just to get outside and walk. Even at work, because we're faced with wearing masks all day long, and then seeing and hearing about these different things that are going on, and with life, the internet, Facebook, or so forth. Just if you just need peace, just go for a walk, and it makes you feel so much better. Just kind of reset yourself for that day or so.
Tell us a little bit about your own story of how you got involved with boxing and the difference it's made in your life.
Well, I was at a wedding. It was actually
at a wedding?
Yes, it was actually Dr. Violet's wedding. It was September 1st, 2018. And I was sitting next to a table next to, I don't know if you know, Julie Preston and Debbie Bettendorf. Yeah. So they were like, hello. I said, hello. And they said, we got in this whole conversation, and they were talking about boxing. And I said, okay, I've never heard of it so far. Well, here in Chillicothe, except for, was it 9 rounds or something? And they said, why don't you come with us? So it was Labor Day, of 2018. I said, okay. And they said, it's tough, but I'm pretty sure you'll love it. So I went and also Michelle Valentine, because she was going. I said, Michelle, hey, you got to come back. You got to come with me. You got to support. And that's the thing, having like a friend. It's like if you're afraid about doing something, take someone with you, to go with you, or drag someone with you. So she came. She was game for it. She went with me. And then I went, and I was like, oh my gosh, this hurts. This feels bad, but I love this. And I actually paid for my membership that first day. And and so with boxing, you feel, so much, stronger, because when I started, I was only doing push-ups on my knees. And this is a true story. One of my patients came into my office one day, and I think he's probably like 80 years old. And he said, what I do for exercise every morning? I said, what do you do? And he was in the, I think the Army, and he said, I get down on my knees and I do a full push-up. So he did. Now this was pre-COVID era rather. He got down on the floor in the office and he did a full push-up. Well, did actually 2 or 3 push-ups, full push-ups. And I was like,
And he's 80.
Yes. And I said, now if he can do that, I would do it. So I think it was the next day I had to go back to my session with boxing. I told my trainers, I said, listen, my 80-year-old patient just showed me out just now, where he got down on the floor and did, those 3 full push-ups. I said, so what can I do to try to help, build myself up to do that? So they gave me, insight and ideas how to do it. And then with boxing, talking about stress reliever. Oh my gosh. So I go there like 4:50 in the morning, and you get all any stresses that may be for the day, and then you start your day, you feel so good. And then by the end of the day, especially all that paperwork, it's kind of piled up on you. I would go back at 5:30 p.m. again to box. And then so when I came home, I was just back to my happy self. Because before, like my poor husband, poor Simon, like I would tell him about all my day, and I'd probably burn his ear off on that whole car trip from the hospital to home. And so sometimes I would be like, Simon, you know what? I don't think I'm going to boxing today. And he's like, no, go to boxing. I know, enjoy yourself. And then, because when I come home, it's all out. You just get out. And that's the same thing with like those who like walk or run. It's just like, or any, the classes that you have the different exercise places. It's just that you get rid of a lot, because you don't realize how much stress that you carry. And it's important to get that off you. And then plus, I know we haven't got a chance to talk about this, but exercise. With our patients, we're seeing, cases with, diabetes, with, the obesity, stroke, and, heart disease. So exercise helps to try to decrease your chance of either having disease or improving your health, so that, you won't have a second, episode or so forth of this. Because even now, when I look at my patient's lab, so I pull the computer over, and I've already seen their labs, so I've already been through the torture and the trauma of looking to see what their labs went from last time I saw them to this time. So I stand beside them, and I look through the corner of my eye. So when I pull up their lab, I want to see what their facial expression, when they're like, and I said, yes, that's what I saw last night when I looked at your labs. Because you see like their hemoglobin, which is a lab that we check for like diabetes or even pre-diabetics or so forth. And we see that the number has been rising, since COVID. And these are my patients. A lot of them were on that right track, doing the right thing, eating healthy, exercising, and then, life shut down on them. And, it's create this hole that they're trying to, fill. And a lot of times they're filling with comfort food, which is not, the best for us. But we need to do something now. We need to make a change, because even though we're living in this era that we're living now, we can make small steps for improvement, But otherwise, it's going to be awful if we don't.
Thank you for sharing that. Miranda, her story is rather unique. She's at a wedding and instantly involved herself with boxing, and you can see her passion. Not everyone might have that same story or that ability to do that. For someone who's not been in activity for a while or has been sedentary for some time, what would be your recommendation on how they should start?
I tell everybody to walk. That's a good way to just get started. Like, people will come to me, and this is no professional medical recommendation, but they say, I got to get more fit. I have to turn my life around. And I tell them, you need to drink a gallon of water every day. You need to go to the bathroom regularly, and you need to sleep 8 hours a night.
Sleep, yes.
Those 3 things alone, if you feel bad, if you just do those 3 things, you will feel at least 25% better just doing those things. And then as you feel better, then you can add some more physical activity in. And like I say, parking your car far away, walking around the block, just start small. It took you a long time to get here.
Yes.
It's not going to be real quick getting back the other way. And you shouldn't expect it to. So don't get bummed out if you don't lose 15 pounds the first week and drop 3 dress sizes. It's a slow process, and it takes a lot longer to get back in the positive than it did to get to the negative, and it's not nearly as much fun. So I just start slow. Don't be hard on yourself. If you have a bad day, if you miss a class, if you eat a bad meal, don't let that keep you down. You know, just go right back with it the next day.
So you don't really need any special equipment to start off with, is that
You
right?
do not, well, as a matter of fact, I encourage people not to have special equipment when they first start out, because sometimes if your form isn't good, if you're just learning how to do exercises, if you add weights or something like that, the risk of injury increases. So just using your own body weight, you know, and just moving.
Awesome. Well, you said the key word, moving. So I think this is the segment where we'll jump into actually showing us how to do this. Now, for the viewers out there, we're very careful about social distancing, and it's very important to maintain that distance. You'll notice that while we're filming this, that we're not wearing masks, but at all other times at Adena Health System, we are wearing masks. And because we're not able to maintain that, I'm going to step off the stage here for just a moment while they demonstrate some valuable exercises that they can do, right? Things that you can do at home to get started. So let's dive right on in, okay?
Sure.
So I'm going to step off here to the side. You'll still hear me out there in the audience, but we'll have you take it away here, Miranda, and show Dr. Yandila a couple of exercises. And then we also have an additional treat. We're also, you know, it's important that we include youth, children and young adults, and so we have a special guest that I'll introduce here in just a couple of minutes that we'll also show some exercises with, all right? So I'm going to step over here and take it away.
Alrighty. Well, I like to start with the basic exercises that I am a huge fan of exercises that use your whole body. Moving strength. As a matter of fact, I'm teaching a new class at the YMCA at the moment called Dynamic Fitness, which is just that. It's a strength class that it's not just standing there lifting weights. It's moving as you lift weights so that you're getting that full body benefit. And most exercises you can turn, you know, after you get really good at doing squats and you want to add a little cardio in or make it harder, then you add some motion. So a squat is a good all-around exercise for full body because it uses your core, it uses your quads and your just your whole thighs. It's important how you do it though. Again, to lower the risk factor, but also to make sure you're targeting the muscles that you're supposed to be targeting. So to do a squat properly, you're supposed to sit back on your heels and push your bum out just a bit. Your knees should never go over your toes so that you can go down here and all your weight is in your heels. You should be able to lift your toes up at any time during this so that you know all your weight's in your glutes. And then you press up into your heels and squeeze. And glute activation, we don't have time to talk about it probably, but it's something good to read about because a lot of people don't realize that in our everyday, our glutes sometimes aren't activated. So if you're walking upstairs and you're leaning over and using your quads to help you, it's because your glutes are weak. So doing exercises like these squats, and you can go as low or as high as you need to, but make sure you're tightening into those glutes. Keep your chest up always, your weight on your heels, and press up. Easy to do, takes no space, takes no equipment. Now, as you get more advanced with that, you can add some weights. You know, put some heavy weights, and you can increase your weights as you go along to help build more muscle. Another exercise is just a plain old push-up, okay, or a plank. We can do both of them while we're down. So Dr. Yandila, she's a beast over here. She can do her push-ups on her arms, and despite the fact that I have been doing push-ups almost every day for a lot of years, I still can't do more than one or two on my toes. But form, again, very important. If you're on your toes, you want to keep your body flat and your head up, looking at your fingertips so that your spine stays in line. And then Dr. Yandila, if you'll just go down, see how she keeps her body firm. She just almost to the ground and then back up. Smooth, controlled motions that are using your muscles. You can also do these a couple of different ways depending on your physical ability. I do mine on my knees, and if you're going to do them on your knees, you want to have that same long form that she demonstrated. You're going to drop your bottom and make sure that you're rolled out on your thighs. Same form though, eyes on your fingertips, slow down, slow up, making sure to use all your muscles, contract as much as you can so that you're getting the most out of it. And always, no matter what you're doing, keep your belly button pulled in, your abs tight because that helps your back and it's your posture muscles. So also you can do these on the wall. You can do a push-up just propped up against the wall if you have problems with your wrists are weak or whatever, and this isn't beneficial to you. So planks are another good one. You don't have to have motion in those, but they are still considered a cardio building exercise. They use something like 26 muscles in your body. Come up and you just hold it. Keeping your fingers out straight, your eyes looking at your fingertips to keep your spine in line, your abs pulled in, and breathing is so important when you do these exercises. Don't hold your breath. If you find yourself yawning, it's probably because you're holding your breath. So remind yourself to breathe. And you can time yourself, 10 seconds, 30 seconds. See if you can increase your hold each day. And then after they get really easy for you, and Dr. Yandila, you mentioned doing your hip dips, where your side dips, you can add in other things. You can lift your legs to work into them. Sometimes I'll even use weights and come up and work my arms. It's just a great core builder, great for your back. You can also do planks on your knees, same way if you're working up to it, but always challenge yourself. When I started and I would do them on my knees, I would still hold a full plank as long as I could and then drop down, and then that way you can build up every day. All right, sit-ups. And see, these are basic exercises that you grew up doing in PE at school. This is nothing surprising here. Sit-ups, you want good form, back straight, abs pulled in, slow controlled motions. I always try to keep my elbows back wide so I cannot see them. Chest and chin to the ceiling, so you're forcing your ab muscles to work. Try not to pull on your neck, and when you get to the top, press it just a little bit higher so that you're teaching your abs to work. A lot of times you don't realize that your muscles don't know what to do, so you have to kind of lead them into it. And you can also mix these up if you want to hit other muscles in your abs. You can have, add a little side action. Here, if you want to add a little cardio in, you can even do, bicycles here. You can do some, Russian twist. That's a good one that you can do with or without. You can have a weight or no weight. You do these a lot, don't you? Because you dread them. So, you can twist, and this gets into your obliques and different areas of your abs. Also a side plank. That's a good one to work your abs. Same thing, you just come up in your side. You can also drop a knee down, hold it here. You can add those dips in if you want to do that to work into your obliques. There's so many things that you can do that are just simple and easy like this that we've been doing our whole life. So,
thank you, Miranda. That's fantastic. And I think we have a special guest with us today.
Oh, are we ready for that?
And this young man's name is Boone, and he's actually your son. Is that right?
He is.
And so it's important that children, young adults, teenagers, they're maintained active as well. So I think you're going to show us some things for with using your son here. So take it away.
Sure. And with youth obesity rates rising alarmingly, it is so important not just to get our kids active, but to teach them to appreciate and enjoy activity, to make it a part of their day, and not some punishment, because they watch too much TV. Now you have to go outside and play for half an hour. It should be something that they look forward to and enjoy doing. So I'm going to use Boone here to demonstrate some cardio moves that you can do at home. These you don't have to do it for an hour. You don't have to do it for 4 minutes. You can do it for 20 seconds. I'd said earlier about waiting for the microwave. Bust a few of these out in the 30 seconds it takes your tea to heat up, So one of them you can do is, we call it a high knees, and you can modify these again. Starting out, you're just raising your knees, okay? Tightening in through your abs, using your hip flexors, or you can speed it up. Boone, you're going to have to do this for me. Speed it up. Get your arms moving. Get your arms up. There you go. Use your whole body. Tighten up through your abs. You can do it fast. You can lift your knees as high as you want to. And we also have a similar move that works the back of your legs. Just butt kickers, hamstring curls. You can be here, or if you want to speed it up. Ready? You can speed it up. You can speed it up. Trying to get your heels up, using your arms, using your whole body. It's not super hard, But it can be, the longer you do it. And again, it's just mobility. Keeping our bodies in motion is so important, because your body is a beautiful thing and it will help you. If you don't want to move, it will help you not to move. If you want to move, it will help you do that as well. So.
Thank you very much. Thank
You're
you,
very
Boone.
welcome.
That's great.
Thanks, buddy.
There are some questions out there around Silver Sneakers and other programs for the more mature folks in the audience. So could you just show us a couple of things or give us some advice regarding, for those who might be in their 6th or 7th or 8th decade of life? You mentioned, Dr. Yandila, the 80-year-old that did the push-ups. So what would be some things that they could do?
Know your limits would be one of my first suggestions, because I'm not 20 anymore, so I have to take that into account. And that doesn't mean I can't do anything. It just means I have to be careful, and I have to really pay attention to my body and what it's telling me. If I've had too much, if this is not an exercise I should be doing any longer. So you really need to pay more attention to what your body's telling you, and don't overdo it. There are so many things, like the exercises that we just did. There are the modifications where you can do the push-ups on a wall. You could do a squat up next to a chair, so that you have, you're just squatting a shallow distance. You see, and it's still hard, it's still challenging, but if you happen to lose your balance and fall, you're safe. You haven't caused an accident. The same thing with the sit-ups and push-ups. So sitting in your chair, you can lift your knees, like I'd said earlier. This works your hip flexors. It keeps your hips mobile, and your hips are one of the first places that you lose mobility. So this is a good exercise for that. Raising and lowering your legs here. Even we've done them before, where you just push yourself up and hold in your chair. This chair's pretty squishy, so it's not good for that. But just pushing up and holding, or coming all the way off an edge like that, or getting behind your chair or to the side of your chair, to use that as a balance, so that you can maybe work your outer thighs or your inner thighs. But just being careful, and but don't age, man, it's just a number, and I've seen some 20-year-olds who are not near as good a shape as some of my senior group people. So
that was awesome. I don't know about you folks, but I was a little tired just watching them all do that exercise. That's fantastic. We do have some questions that are coming in from the viewers, and so we'll spend the next few minutes on those questions, if that's all right with you. This is a great one, right? So we've talked about the exercise, but this one says, would you recommend sports drinks, just water, or both when hydrating before, during, after? Some advice that you would give us regarding that?
So I'm torn on this, and you might have a better medical perspective on that. I tend to stick just to water, simply because so many of the sports drinks are filled with artificial colors. They are filled with artificial sweeteners and salt. And I just feel like that. For me, it's not ever been anything. I've tried everything in the last 25 years, but I would recommend personally just drinking water. A good distilled, purified, it doesn't necessarily, if you want to be picky about that, you don't have to drink tap water. You can step it up from there, but.
Anything that you would add to that, Dr. Yandila?
I tend to agree. I like the water especially for adults. I know if with children, they have the special drinks, like, the Powerade or so for kids, because for their electrolytes. I know with adults, we're supposed to be eating healthy and obtaining these things from our diet. With our kids, sometimes they may be picky, so they may miss out on the electrolytes and so forth. And we can tell, like, if we start to have muscle aches or cramps. So with kids, they may not be able to tell you as much that their muscles are aching from, like, maybe a low potassium level. So electrolytes may be for the kids, but then just, pick the specific type for children or so.
Miranda, one of the viewers asks, what are outdoor activities that I could do with my kids?
Outdoor activities? Oh, this is right up my alley, since I am with the parks. Hiking is great, just general hiking, because children are so curious and they're interested, and so not only are you fostering a love of fitness and activity, but you're also fostering a love of the outdoors and of nature, and helping them to be more conscious about that. Obviously, any kind of, sports, swimming, you can paddle, bicycling, but I just love taking my kids on just a plain old nature hike, whether it's in the city park or at one of the park district's 4 county parks. because you get so much more out of it than just physical activity, and you really kick into that emotional, nature is a calming factor, whether you're really paying attention to it or not. And there's so many fun things to, stumble over bugs and fungus and flowers to look at, or shoot, just run crazy and get dirty, I mean, that does a lot. And I could just keep going. Swimming, of course, and that's been a kind of an issue with this COVID, is being able to get some good swimming time in. But vary your activities. Do as many different things as you can, because just like eating different colored foods gives your body different vitamins and minerals, doing different activities teaches your body, uses different muscles and whatnot, plus keeps the kids interested.
Wonderful. Dr. Yandila, if another question coming in, if I have joint pain, does exercising help, or should I back off?
First your doctor makes sure that everything is okay for you to be able to exercise. But I tell you, for me, before I started back into my exercise program, I was starting to feel aches, and I was like, oh my gosh, is this what it feels like? But when I started with exercising, and it takes several months, but then you actually start to feel better. It actually helps to lubricate your joints. But again, check with your primary care provider first to make sure you're okay to do certain things. But if you start slow and then start building up, you actually need to build up those muscles, as you talk about with with silver sneakers. Building up those muscles, they help to protect those joints, and it is important to do. And eventually, those aches may start to feel better. Because I actually have patients that were facing joint surgery. They lost weight, started eating better, and then now they're fine where they don't need to have their knee surgery or whatever they're going to have. So,
thank you for that. One last question coming in, and I'll direct this one to you, Miranda. And you mentioned a few things, like even with the 30 seconds at the microwave, but it says, I work at home. What are some things I could do to break up my day?
Oh, well, and that just doing these kind of exercises, and that's something that you could schedule if you're that kind of person and you enjoy that scheduled, or work for an hour and then get up and do 10 minutes of squats or 10 minutes of sit-ups, or the why, and a lot of other places are doing it too since the pandemic began, is they're broadcasting classes and sessions online, and most people are trying to keep those to around 30 minutes so that it's more doable. And look up some of those. Get on YouTube is a boundless they have every kind of thing in the world that you would want. And sometimes even watching those things, if you're not working along, it still gets you kind of excited and, kind of like, oh, this is something I could do or try. So, and go outside, especially, oh my gosh, if you're at home, sunshine can do miracles for you anyway. But, get up and walk around your house, get up and walk down the street, or go out and pull some weeds in your flowers, or, bend and stoop and, yeah.
Well, we're running out of time very quickly, and that's because I don't know about you viewers, but this has been fantastic, right? Being able to see some of the different exercises that you can do, a lot of the advice that you've given has been very great. Dr. Yandila, what would be one of the things that you'd want our viewers to really take away from today's session?
What I would take away from this session is just that, like as Miranda said, don't beat yourself up when you're starting back. Just start slow. Even like I said, if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, just start slow and just build from there. In terms of your food, I tell my patients sometimes it's hard to start with both, with like physical activity and eating at the same time. So pick one. If you know that I'll be more consistent with exercising or doing activity, do that first. And then if I'm more consistent with eating better, then that's what I'll do. But just try something, just to have fun. And then with your family, I have to give my husband Simon credit for it, because we have Maya, who's 3 years old. She plays with her bubbles, so she runs around. So we say, go catch bubbles. So she'll run and catch bubbles, or either say, I'll count how many bubbles. So she'll run and go catch those. But the boys, frisbee. Bring back frisbee. These old things. So like I have my oldest Benjamin. He'll just kind of just throw it directly to you, and then so with him, to make him run, you have to just throw it out this way and then that way. And then my youngest Elijah, we have both of them will have a frisbee. So one will throw it to me. And then as I'm throwing it back, Elijah, I see his frisbee coming, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Are you throwing this frisbee right when I'm just throwing it?" So I have to hurry up and catch. So you catch it out of the air, so you make him feel like, "Yo, my mom is cool," And then you just catch it. And so with him, I usually have him laid out all across the field, because he's going to throw a frisbee while I'm trying to throw his brother. But just try to, like you said, find something fun to do and different stuff. Those things that we used to do in the past with frisbee, something is free. you know, especially because I got that Adena frisbee back when it's summer session.
One of those too.
Yes, bring that frisbee out and do that, you know, and run with it. But I just find something fun to do. Take your music with you. You schedule some appointment with yourself because you are important, you know, to yourself. So those are things that I find that you just take away from this and just start somewhere. Start today, you know. Be careful with the heat. It's hot out there.
Miranda, your final thoughts?
It's okay to, if you need that group, you know, if you need to join a gym, if you need to purchase some weights for your home, I feel like that's something that most people could work into their budget. And for me, buying, you know, clean organic produce, invest in a little money in your health. It's either a pay now or a pay later kind of thing. You're either going to pay now to keep your body healthy or to get your body healthy, or you're going to pay in medical bills and lost work time later. So that, and just to reiterate that any activity is better than no activity, whatever it may be. So just keep moving.
Any activity is better than no activity.
Yes.
Well, there you have it, folks. You've had an instruction on whether it's 30 seconds at a microwave, 5 minutes in between a meeting, 30 minutes of scheduled time or within a group. So grateful for both of you for joining us. And thank you again to Dr. Yandila, who's an internal medicine specialist and boxer at Adena Health System, and our gratitude to Miranda Vance from the YMCA, as well as representing the Ross County Park District, and to our special guest, her son, Boone, for demonstrating particularly the cardio aspects. We invite you to join us again for another edition of Living Well with Adena, which will be on Thursday, July 16th. And we'll be talking a little bit more about masking and the pros and the benefits, and giving you some really helpful advice, particularly during the summer months, on how we can do all our part with that. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a great day.